Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another vlog where we ride a motorcycle and we yappity yap about crappity crap. Sometimes we talk about really smart, cool things, and other times we talk about silly things. But today is one of those gas tank question days. You going, bro, there? The gas tank question for today will be announced really shortly. But first I have to say things like, it's about to rain, it's cold, I was expecting more, you know? Like, by the way, Etsy, I don't know if you guys know Etsy, but their office is right there. And what's his name, Jared Kushner or whatever, the guy who is married to Ivanka Trump, he bought these buildings. So that building and that building over there, they're all are owned by that motherfucker. How about that shit? They used to be Jehovah's Witness buildings. Anywho, oh, look at that traffic. This was gonna suck. Major balls. But it's gonna be okay, because with any luck, we'll move right along. We'll see. Anyway, Jonathan Gibru from YouTube had a question for this week's gas tank question segment. And the question is maintenance before, after, and during the cross-country USA trip. Great question. As some of you may know and some of you may not, I went cross-country on my motor bicycle last year and the year before. So I've done 2 across USA trips where I basically went, you know, 18 states one trip and like 18 states the next, or 20 states the next. Anyway, so each trip was 5,000 miles, and I could see how one could be concerned with the kind of maintenance one needs to do before heading out on a trip such as that. Don't fear, Ducati NYC is here to help you with this dilemma. I'm gonna try to do it by the book today, you know. I know it's gonna be really boring for everybody, but I don't lane split anymore. I'm a good person now. Anywho, as far as maintenance goes, it's actually really hard to vlog in traffic like this, by the way, because when you're cruising you can just focus on cruising, but when you stop and go like this, it's just a bitch. And this person in front of me is from South Carolina, so this is probably their first time driving in their life. You never know. But anyway, as far as maintenance goes, you know, obviously I do my best to maintain the bike throughout the year, so that way when it's time for a cross-country trip, it's not really like, oh my god, I gotta get the bike road ready. It's more about like, what's going on, what has been the issue. And my bike did not really have any issues for either of the trips. However, you have to realize that you're about to ride 5,000 miles, okay? So if you have any major services to be done, or if you have any like any issues with the bike, you have to get it fixed. Also, it's very important that knowing that you're going to do 5,000 miles or whatever long, that your tires are in good shape, you know, and that your tires will last the distance, because last thing you want to do is replace the tires. Yo, what up, bruh? And you also, like, you probably because you better have a oil change, you know, right before you go, because you have to change the oil on motorcycles. I mean, at least this motorcycle, every like 2,000–3,000 miles. It depends on how much torture you like to dish on your bike before you change the oil. So I usually change the oil before going cross country. So you also take a look at your chain, make sure your chain is up to par. That was one of my mistakes. My chain was shitty, and instead of doing the smart thing and changing my chain and my sprockets before the trip, like a piece of dog turd, I didn't, and that's why I had to do it in the middle of the trip. Anyway, I'm going. That's what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a cop right next to me. Undercover. You see those lights? I don't like it. This is the most ridiculous thing ever. I really hate the fact that it's illegal to lane split. But let's not get distracted. And that's I'm trying to think about what else I did before that's worth thinking. You know, anything. Like, you make sure, as far as maintenance before, you got to make sure you bring your batteries up to par. Like, you have fuses, your toolkit is set up, all that stuff. You need all of these things in order to have a successful trip. As far as during, I just made sure to lube my chain, and that was super important. And yeah, like, so I pretty much lubed my chain almost every morning, or yeah, every morning, because my chain was not up to fucking snuff. My chain was crap, and that goes into before the ride. I should have replaced that chain before the ride, and the sprockets, but it was a bitch. But yeah, so what essentially tires, and tires is what you really want. Tires is what you really need. Afterwards, there was on my bike, I need to do a major service every 6,000 miles, which is pretty often. And after each cross-country ride, I had to do a full service, which is not cheap either. If you're going to take it to a place, it's going to be like $800 at least. So that's something I had to do after both cross-country rides, because both of them I timed them, so I literally need to do it. So like the second cross-country ride, I ended up it finished at Motor Corsa, which is like this badass Ducati shop in Portland, Oregon, and they serviced my bike and then shipped it, so that was pretty awesome. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting any other service items, but all of that stuff is pretty much straightforward and self-explanatory. It's basic maintenance, you know. Just got to plan ahead, and it was not very complicated. Like I mean, as far as, like, you know, logistics of planning this trip and making sure I have all the tools. Like, one tool that I brought that was heavy and kind of silly was a breaker bar and a big socket for my rear wheel. Like see, like that, I had to think about all this stupid shit because I did not maintain my bike properly right before. I did not replace the chain, and speaking of chains, my chain ended up coming off my bike. My chain literally came off my sprocket, and by luck it did not break or rip, it just twisted. So I was able to sort of twist it back, and I was able to, like, twist it back and put it back on, which was pretty awesome. It's a nice little Audi there. And there we are. That was a quick little maneuver. And basically tires, chain, you know, and that's it. Gotta make sure your electronics are on point. You basically don't want to do any major repairs in the middle of the road. I got so lucky because I guess my bearings have been fucking up. My front bearing has been fucking up, and I didn't even realize it. But then we hit like 3 days of heavy rain, and my front started just vibrating, and like all this shit came out of the bearing in the front. So I had to find the front bearing for my bike at like 10 p.m. in Milwaukee And luckily I found a spot not far from the Harley Museum of all places that had it, and the next morning they hooked me up with a new bearing at 9 in the morning. But anyway, it's kind of a rambly long topic, but I hope that explains a couple of things for you. Anywho, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you very much for watching as always, and V-Dog is out. Look at this Triumph.